as usual it happened that after the first season, नहीं वो TRP जो है वो soaps की तरह इसकी TRP नहीं है. TRP is not as good, you know. So sometimes what happens is when you're slightly, I feel you're doing something which is slightly ahead of times, in a way, not ahead of times where the world is concerned, but India. So you have a little problems. But I was very, very passionate, very committed to it. And that's what I've done in my career, always. That I've done things which I instinctively feel that I should do it, not really following the trend. And this is the trend. नहीं, मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि instinctively this is the right thing to do. This is great storytelling. And I go for it. And that's the way I've done 24, which is almost more than 10 years back. And then I've done night managing. So a lot of other shows also which you offered. And then suddenly everybody said that, you know, we want to do a show. We want to do something like 24. You know. And suddenly that became a kind of a reference point for everybody. But when I was doing, I had a lot of, it was very tough for me to make that show. And then again, Night Manager was an adaptation, and they bought the rights. The same people had bought the rights who had asked me not to buy the rights. Why are you buying the rights? And they had bought the rights. And I think they had paid more than what I had paid. So how things change. And now everything is done. I think we are doing something together, which is hopefully will be something as exciting as 24 and Night Manager. Do you want to say anything? I've said my take on my journey of technology changing and then going with my gut, going with my instinct, and having the right people around you also makes a lot of difference. Keep all the people around you, your team, and who backs you, who gives you the right advice, and doesn't misguide you. अरे मत करना यार, कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता है, you know, copy कर लेते हैं, without rights कर लेते हैं. That's not the way. For longer run, this is not the way to do business. This is not the way. If you want to stay relevant and to stay, you know, now that you know people call you to speak about it, that means you have to be done. Everything has to be done very ethically, very honestly, and done. And everybody should get the due. And you should be fair. Being fair in business, I think, and in creativity also is the key. This is my take on whatever you asked me.
Yeah. No, I think what you've done at some level has been, you've always defied, I think, the odds of the market norms, so to say. On a smaller note, I remember even when your boss Sadhin came, that was also the era where all the actors, there were no mutual actors, right? And you know, you had Dharmender and Jitendra and all those actors, and you've obviously defined that. In some ways, you were also the first actor with a beard. As I think, शायद सारे हीरो का beard होता है movies में.
Yeah, because वो was जब वक्त था जब बड़े-बड़े filmmakers ने they had given statements and said कि मूछे वाले actor कभी successful नहीं होते. And most of the successful stars and actors are without the mustache. And then I was cocky at that time, so I would say Charlie Chaplin, Raj Kapoor, Clark Gable, all these guys, all these great actors have been with a mustache. And then of course you were about the stubble part of it. Stubble became so people would identify me with the stubble because I started the stubble not because I just felt because I wanted to do those kind of roles which were the macho roles, which are the alpha Romeo kind of, not Romeo, alpha male kind of roles, which now has become very popular after Anil. But I was doing those kind of those roles I wanted to do, and I had a very when people felt that I'm a very small and a very baby face, so I had the stubble for everything. So if there's a action film, I would have a stubble. Romantic film, I would have an action stubble. Mystery, I had a stubble. I'm playing a lawyer, I had a stubble. So that became, and I used to have this beard. And I remember senior actors who were very close to me. They said, "There was काम नहीं है क्या? दाढ़ी हुआ के घूम रहा है." और आज हर actor दाढ़ी के साथ है. तो ऐसा लग रहा है कि बस काम नहीं है.
But I think coming back to our role, Anil, Anil, I think on this question, I think from our point of view as OTT, I feel हमारा काम काफी simple है. All we've been trying to do over the decades is solve for reach and access. Content making, content narration in this country is thousands of years old. We had Natak Mandlis, we had Ruppers. I think what cinema did was brought it in a large format to a certain geography. And then TV came, and TV took it to a larger audience. TV was still, I think, largely still segmented by languages to some extent. And I remember TV really started in India around early 80s, around Asian Games. In I think 82 or 83, I think उस टाइम में शायद 2 या 3 करोड़ लोगों को access था TV का. And then I spent a lot of time in cable and DTH because that was the new technology at that time that took it from Doordarshan days ahead. And I think that technology helped us take it to 15, 16 crore homes. And OTT is helping us further. मेरा मानना है OTTs today, at least 65, 70 crore people are connected in this country real time to content in different forms. So, and whether it's content or gaming companies or food companies or ticketing companies, at some level I feel we're all solving for access and sort of easier storytelling for consumers to make choices. Define the job, odds is I think a little more trickier job that you do, and that's why you're the superstar for the last 4 decades. But in that sense, I think I feel our task is a little more straightforward, cut out. Sometimes you get a little lost in this whole transformation and kuch major ho raha hai. I feel it's a continuation of an exercise and a...
Well, my first job was for Doordarshan. My first paycheck was for Doordarshan, 250 rupees. I went to, there was a Doordarshan office in Worli. I remember traveling there by bus and going there and performing for Doordarshan. And the first, I think, popular film thing was Chaya Geet, where songs were shown, and that became very, very popular. So that was the news. People would watch news, and then the Chaya Geet started. Chitrahar, Chaya Geet, all those kind of things. And all. Obviously, the radio was huge. God bless his soul, Amin Saini Sahab, who left us. But I remember meeting him, and we would promote our films and would bank mostly on radio. And बिना का गीत माला में अगर वो अगर वो गाना आ जाए, first आ जाए, तो that would really help us promote. So I've gone through, I've been very fortunate from last so many years. I've been met all the greats of radio, and then Doordarshan. I did my first interview with Tabassum ji for Phool Khile Gulshan Gulshan. That show was so popular that we titled one of our films called Phool Khile Gulshan Gulshan. The title of the film was Phool Khile Gulshan Gulshan. So, and then, how it is. So I've been very fortunate in that way, in terms of knowing all these people, working with them, meeting all the greats, and seeing them in flesh and blood. I've been very fortunate that, from Rafi Saab to Kishore Kumar to the, and then the next generation of singers, I have the, good fortune that they've done they've done, sung for me and made me what I am today, because I was only lip syncing, but it was their magical voice. And so on and so forth. And of course, as you said, that whatever digital technology is, it's actually what we're trying to do is to reach out to people and help, it might be films, it might be anything, whatever you want to reach out to the consumers. It's about storytelling. It's how you connect, how you get people emotionally and in a way attract them to come in so that they get attracted, and how you market it, how you hype it, how you do it. But ultimately, I think you have to do it in a very, very honest, very pure, no matter what it is, you have to do it in a very sincere, true and real way. That always connects, I feel. And this is what I feel, very, very. This has been whatever experience I have and whatever I've seen, what I've gone through in my career, and I've seen other people's careers also. Because I do not only see my career, but I always look up to people in every field. It might be sports, it might be business, it might be politics, it might be entrepreneurs. I just keep on reading, watching, looking at them and how and what they have done to achieve what they have done. And I'm still a student, I'm still learning. And that's what I feel.
On that adoption of technology, and you've always imbibed it proactively, I want to touch upon social media, because social media is becoming a great tool for us as platforms. How do you keep that real? Is there sometimes one feels, is there too much how much use is overused? How do you keep it real? In some ways also, I feel, was there a mystique to actors earlier? And with social media, when you feel like you can see your actor every day, you can literally follow them changing new clothes every day, and does that take away the mystique? And in some sense, with Mr. Bachchan, yourself, Shah Rukh, is that the last of the superstars with social media? So how do you balance it so that it's helping? And I say this because I think viewers very keenly follow your social media, your fitness, your routine, everything that you do.
I think it's a tool, I feel there are plus points and minus points. You should know when to use it and not to use it. That's the key. You see, I was just listening to Denzel Washington. He said a very good thing. There were a time when if someone had to like you, it was very much in person. Like, I want you to like me, or I want over here all the sitting on the esteemed guests over here. I want them to like me. That's it. But now on social media, you want 18 million or 10 million people to like you, and which are faceless. At least I can see a lot of faces here. I can see someone listening, someone on the phone, someone kind of a thing. But at least I can see them, and I want to connect with them. I want them to like me. But when it becomes trying to, people who are completely, you don't know them, and without really doing anything, you want people to like you, and it doesn't have that. You should have something to give. Then only it has an impact. You have nothing to give, and you're just using social media. Just becomes like an addiction. That's very, very, very. That's not correct. I think that will take away, and of course, giving time. Of course, you have to switch off. When do you switch off? It's tough, but that's the way you have to use it correctly. And actors, there are certain actors who are using social media for, if they want, not only they're not doing it to project themselves as stars or as what they are doing, but sometimes to, if they believe in some, which is a social cause which they are very close to. It might be environment, it might be health, it might be fitness, it might be anything which they really believe in, they use the social platform and they use it correctly. And otherwise, we sometimes it becomes helpful for us when our film is releasing or something we have to promote. It becomes easier. But I think anything overkill is not good in terms of consumption also, and you have to use it correctly. You should know when to stop it. So that's the key of it. So there are advantages, a lot of advantages for a lot of people, for newcomers, for young entrepreneurs, business people. How do they reach out? And digital is the future. You know it. It is the future. Then how do we make content which connects? So the intent in that also has to be, it has to be very honest and very pure. And I feel less is always more. Less is always more. You know, and you should know when and how to use it, and you will see it. That sometimes it just doesn't have, it has a negative impact. You know, and sometimes it has a positive impact. So it's your instinct, your sensibility, how you use social media.
On which note I want to ask, I think touch upon the topic. I'm guessing there are a lot of founders, startup executives here. I think one of the challenges I certainly face sometimes, and I don't know whether I do a good job of balancing or not, but with technology, in some ways, work has also become 7 by 24. Uh, and you know, we work very closely over the last couple of years. The energy that you have and you know to keep it going for decades and decades. What do you do to balance it? You know, do you switch off at some point in the day? How do you balance it with things outside of your work? You know, and something that all of us could take away a little bit in terms of just prioritizing, balancing, because you know today I think most of the people, the first thing that they wake up, they'll probably check their phone, you know, their WhatsApp messages, their emails. The moment you read the email, your mind starts working already on the reply. You hardly half away, and your mind is already back to work. And I don't know how that routine is sustainable if one has to replicate, you know, the sort of path that you follow.
Well, you know, I obviously it's a work in progress where I'm concerned. So every decade, things kept on changing. How I keep myself sane, how I keep myself normal, how I keep myself fit, how I feel like I have the hunger to work and do my best. So that every decade, I kept on changing. When I started my career, what I used to do, then after 10 years, after 20 years, after 30 years, when I was in my 40s, when I was in my 50s, now I'm you know, almost in my late 60s. So it keeps on changing, and if you want to know which decade you're talking about, this decade now, when the social media and all those stresses and all the...
Having seen you up and close, I think all decades are relevant. Your energy levels today are as higher than a 20-year-old. So you can pick any decade that you want, you'll still be an example.
You know, there are a lot of, there are a lot of people who have, you know, which I take away from them. It's like you have your body is like a car. You know, like you treat it like a car. You buy a car. Sometimes you're lucky to get a good car. You know, sometimes the best of cars you're not lucky. So and then you feel blessed in the morning. You woke up in the morning that yes, you know, I'm a good car. Yeah, at least I have no problems. I'm still breathing. So how do I look after it? There are so many people who have, you know, cars which are 60 and 50 years old, but they really look after it. They polish it, they use the right petrol, they look after it, they cover it, they don't overuse it. And still they are speaking, you know, why do you call it? They have these vintage shows. There are cars which are almost 70, 80, 90 years old and they still look so good. It's something they've done right. Right? So that's what you do. You have 24 hours in your, you know, and God has given you this body, this mind, and given you this power of so many things to think, to express. You have given you the tongue for the taste and everything, you know. So you have 24 hours to do so many things which give you so much of joy. So why can't, and the body which gives you so much of joy. So your mind and your body, why can't you give at least an hour and a half to that body and mind, which is going to give you so much of pleasure throughout the day in 24 hours. 22 घंटे आपको नींद भी मिल रही है, आप खाना भी खा रहे हैं, आप इंजॉय भी कर रहे हैं, आप काम भी कर रहे हैं, इस बॉडी के साथ, इस माइंड के साथ, आप 2 घंटा उसको नहीं दे सकते, जो बॉडी आपको इतना कुछ दे रही है. So that's my way of looking at it. I said, I want to keep this fit enough, my eyes, my, you know, everything. I should feel good about myself. The more, and somewhere you should be sometimes looking after yourself more than anything else. Because if you look after yourself, you feel good about yourself, then you'll be good to your family, you'll be able to solve their problems, you'll be good to your team, you'll be good in the office who are there, who are looking up to you. And if you're feeling fresh and fit, you can give more. And that's what I believe in. And that's what I've done. And sleep. If you work hard, if you're tired, then only you get sleep. आप कुछ कर ही नहीं रहे, सिर्फ खा रहे हो, बैठ रहे हो, तो कहाँ नींद आएगी आपको? You have to exhaust yourself. You should fall dead by the night and just hit the sack and go to sleep. It works. Not only you worked hard, you worked on yourself, you worked on your body, and you played, and you should. And my thing is, besides, there's so many ways to keep yourself fresh. Some people can just walk for an hour, some people can run, you can do weights, you can do functional, you can do yoga, if you can add a sport, your entire daily exercise is the best thing you can do, because sport is something which can really de-stress you. That's the only time, even when you're doing weights or walking or running or doing any kind of functional, still your mind is still, doing all the things which are there in your mind about family, work, business, career, everything. But when you're playing a sport, that's the best time you can really de-stress, because you're feeling so competitive. That's time you don't think about anything else. And then after that, you can go back and do something. If you play in the morning, great. If you can, sometimes you can play in the evening also. Any sport. So you can include that sport. And I have noticed one thing, the busier you are, those are the people who are most accessible and have all the time in the world. तो जितने भी लोगों को मिला पूरी दुनिया में, and I have met the best of best, and I feel they have all the time in the world for everything. So how find time for everything, and you have to find time for your mind and your body, and and the body and mind. And if you have found that time, you work that means sleep also. So these are the three factors. And of course, food is the key. You have to have a certain kind of control, and you should listen to your body and not listen to because food is to keep your body going, your mind going, not to really, it's not about just taste and enjoyment. Sometimes it's fine, but not every day, every meal. It doesn't work. And it's all about intake and outtake. If you have, and if one day you indulge, then the second day you have to work it out and keep your balance, your fixed deposit, which is the calories which you burn. That's like the fixed deposit. So if you have you've eaten a lot of calories, then you should have so much in your fixed deposit, which where you're burned, so the balance is always there. And I believe in very, very strongly is I have to earn the meal. I have to earn my meal. I believe in that. That's what I have done. If I have to eat a good meal, I should earn it. Earn it, like I have to really work, thrash my body and feel so hungry that I feel यार मैंने इतनी मेहनत की है अपने काम में, अपने फैमिली के साथ, अपने बॉडी के साथ, हर चीज़ के साथ. I deserve this meal. I have to earn it. I feel it's not. So that's what I do. Intake, outtake, earning my meal. These are the things which I can quickly tell you all. I hope you all understand what I'm saying.